Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another week's worth of the Alpaca Boys. Steve is not with us this evening.
He's a new papa.
That is true, yes.
Yep. Shatine decided to give him a little boy named Eli. So we're drinking in honor of
doing
Steve.
very well.
Yes, doing very well. We have the Bills schedule on the docket for the evening. Since the setup is a little bit different, Adam's going to be reading off the games. We're going to be telling you whether or not they're going to win or lose. We are joined this evening with Grumpy Cat and the Queen Alpaca. Thank you, milady, for joining us this evening. Hey, what's week one? What's going on?
All right, so I guess we're jumping right in. Week one, the day after your birthday.
Nice.
Oh, snap.
Where Pittsburgh is coming into Buffalo. I'm going to start it off where I'm going to say this is going to be a win. And a big part of it is the fact that I just don't know what the heck Pittsburgh is doing, to be perfectly honest. Like, I love Najee Harris. I think that he is a stud. I think that he will be a stud for a while. And if you're in a dynasty league with the first overall pick, that's your guy. I love ETN too, but that's your guy. That being said,
they also just didn't, or they just cut that guard, right?
Yeah, and they just cut David Castro.
Today, I think.
Yeah, an all-pro guard after 9 years. Saved 9 mil, I forget, around that much time. But anyway, the point being is now you have no offensive line that wasn't able to protect Ben last year, and your solution in the first 2 rounds was, we'll get a running back and a pass-catching tight end. That will help us with our offensive line woes. So the Bills, on the other hand, were like, we're going to beef up our D-line with our first 2 picks being DNs who can kick inside if necessary. It just seems like, and with being in Buffalo, it just seems like it's all coming up Buffalo in my mind.
Yeah.
I got to agree with you. I don't see the Steelers doing nearly as well this year.
It's going to be the first year that they're going to be bad.
Do you think they're going to finish 4th in that division, actually, really quickly? Because that's a really tough... That and the NFC West is arguably the 2 best...
Just go off the top of your head, is it the Ravens better than them?
Yes.
Cleveland's better than them?
Cleveland's arguably better than Baltimore.
And the Bengals are probably going to be better than them, too. As long as Burrow's, still...
The Cincy defense is the one thing that I still feel like I'm not completely confident in, but I'm also not necessarily confident in a lot of things with the Steelers. Like, they've lost a lot of people from last year, and they're getting some people back from health. Like, I know Devin Bush was hurt, so getting him back is a nice thing. But they lost Mike Hilton, who is an underrated nickel corner. And the entire defense is just getting older. Like, it's one of those things where, like...
but old first-round draft picks are better than old fifth-round draft picks.
I mean, unless your name is Richard Sherman.
Okay. Very true. Robbie, how are you feeling about that game?
I have to agree with Adam. Honestly, the Bills are going to win. It is the first game of the season. They're going up to Buffalo.
It's not easy to win in that place, no matter what time of year it is.
Not.
No matter how good they are or how bad they are.
It's a fun place to be if you're a fan of the home team and not one that necessarily.
So
your
is that
after having been up there and seeing how small that stadium actually is?
That's a 4 for 4.
It is a 4 for 4.
What's your phone?
But
no,
put your phone.
I give it to the Bills. Like, on TV, they make that place look a lot bigger than it actually is. So when you're there and you actually hear the sound of the crowd bouncing, no, I give it to Buffalo.
Especially week 1, like that play. And now this is the first year, and they weren't allowing fans last year, so all of a sudden those fans are going to be coming in raucous. Like it's. So we didn't take our intro one, but that's probably a good thing. So we can actually not end up.
We cheers the beers to Eli. So now here's to the first of, I'm sure, will be many.
Last of mine.
Yeah.
I'll do one, but.
Diamond upside down is up. I don't know if you guys also heard this. Just really quick tangent. The Bills are in the talks of building a new stadium in Orchard Park still. They were talking about possibly doing it in downtown Buffalo, but they're opting for Orchard Park. I'm not a local. I don't have to be the taxpayer, so maybe I don't have as much of a say. I like it more, though, because I like having the stadium. Like, you've been up there with me when we were in the stadium. Right? It's out in the middle of nowhere, so tailgating is just so much more fun. I feel like being downtown, you will be more limited to it.
Is it similar to MetLife, kind of, where it's out?
So in order to get into...
It's literally in the middle of nowhere.
Gotcha.
To give you an idea of where the stadium is now, there are multiple interstate roads that get you close. They get you very, very, very close to it. Adam can attest to this. going in, it's a 2-lane road. Leaving, it's a 4-lane road. Straight up.
People will park in suburban driveways on the way there, and they'll charge them for the house parking because the house is that close to the stadium
awesome.
without any.
So the joke,
cool.
the running joke, like
Yeah,
in the winter you can hit the stadium, from like your back porch with a snowball. May not be able to hit the stadium, but you can get pretty freaking far in the parking lot. I'll give you that. Like that's how close properties are, like to where the stadium is.
But they're building a new stadium, obviously going to be bigger, not going to be domed. I'm personally, again, another fan of that. I feel like if you're up in Buffalo...
Why would you take out that home field advantage?
Yeah.
Exactly, especially with a quarterback who is one of the few that can throw it through wind.
Like New Orleans, I get it. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to play in disgusting humidity.
Exactly.
Dome.
Miami's got a retractable dome, I think.
Yeah, but same deal. Nobody wants to play in that humidity. But like when you get somewhere cold, like Soldier Field doesn't have a dome.
Yeah.
Because it's actually a home field advantage.
Lambeau.
Yeah, Lambeau's not a dome.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Minnesota built a dome recently.
Lambeau, sorry. Like,
I agree with you.
Lambeau to me, in my opinion, it's almost practically a high school football field from like the way that I've heard.
Kind of like the original Ralph.
Yeah.
Like before they rebranded New Era and tried to make it nice, but it's still like basically a high school or college
When's
stadium.
the last time they redid Lambeau?
Lambeau?
Lambeau's one of the few original stadiums left.
No, I think
they might have renovated.
They renovated I think they added some to the top or something.
But it still feels very like hometown
Yeah.
feel because the hometown owns the team.
I was about to
so,
say there's no owner.
I mean,
Which is another reason why they're dealing with an Aaron Rodgers fiasco. Because there's no one guy with the checkbook that just says, "Okay, GM, you're out. Rodgers, whatever you want." Like
That's another
there
one
is
on
no
my
number
bucket
one
list.
trump card guy there.
That's a bucket list place for me.
Lambeau, same
Lambeau
here.
and
Yeah, I
Kansas
agree,
City
yeah, I don't know
Kansas City
Lambeau.
for the tailgate.
Yeah, for that
Yeah.
food.
Oh yeah.
Oh
I
my God.
have friends that live out there, so if we go,
Yeah.
I've heard
Yeah,
the food even in the stadium is like
Free board, free room and board.
I don't know about food board,
I went
but
to a game at,
if we get
at the
tickets to a
Titans
game, they
stadium.
got
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
tailgating.
Alright.
Remember you went, it was Notre Dame and
You
LSU.
go,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, it was
telling you,
Music City
that's
Bowl.
what I really want to
I
go for.
I've
Dude, it
seen
was like
pictures and heard stories.
Daniel's
like,
barbecue.
it's- yeah.
Was the
I
stadium
don't care if we
food.
get the shit kicked out.
Like
of us.
the
No,
expensive
we
beers were $9 or $11 for like the big expensive.
I mean,
beers.
So much like
Yeah,
a
it's not-
Gatorade costed
Yeah.
in this area.
And like the pulled pork sandwiches were like pulled pork sandwiches.
Yeah, not like mystery meat.
Yeah, and it was like $7. I was
Alright,
like, are
so
you kidding
game one,
me?
Raw
Like,
and
this is
Greens,
in the
Bills win.
stadium?
Game two.
Game 2. Now, this one, maybe we'll get something different because we always know somebody might win, might lose. Going down to Miami.
No, come on.
Yeah,
I'm
come
gonna say
on.
it's if this was here's the thing. If this was later in the year,
That's another win for the Bills
Yeah,
next week.
so start pouring them.
Alright,
I will.
No, but-
I do want to say this though. If this was later in the year,
Yeah,
I would
but-
say no
later
because
in
now
the
you're
year,
going from
maybe,
drastic
but-
cold to Miami humidity in
Yeah.
the middle of November,
Yeah.
December, and that's a
Like,
big
week
drastic.
two,
Yeah, but
it's-
you're going in September.
Right.
yeah, week two.
I'm not
That's like the perfect time
I'm
to
not
play.
trying to convince anybody to not say it. I'm just simply pointing out the reality.
We'll probably get through this
You're like
schedule a
pandering
lot
to
faster
Scooter,
than the
you're
other
like, my God.
two teams. It's they're a better team. They're
They
a
are a
great
better team. There's really only one division.
We
that
were a
made-
better team last year. Let's not start assuming
But
that
there's
last year's
really only
results.
maybe like
I'm talking
one,
about
one
compared
division,
to ours,
two
like
Like
divisions.
his division, the same winner team never wins the same division twice in a row, right? Like
No,
it's been what
it's been a
15
long
years,
time.
20 years since the last time they.
Yeah, I think.
wasn't it Dallas the last one?
Yeah, I
we did?
think Dallas did it last.
Back
and it
with
was
like when they were beating us in the
03,
Super Bowl.
04.
I thought it was
Yeah.
like when they were beating us in the Super Bowl in the 90s.
No. So it was like the Giants went on that Super Bowl run, and then someone else won the division like the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. By the way, who do you think's gonna win this year?
The Giants.
How about the Jets fans who don't have a loyalty bias?
Dallas for me.
I'm gonna go Washington.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be Washington.
Dallas is a good one too because if that defense is even
I am gonna go.
decent,
They got
Washington's defense
I'm
is
gonna
gonna
go
give Dallas
Washington.
2 L's.
I think
am.
that's. I think it'll be interesting in Dallas personally.
Well, I'm gonna go Washington, even though we can't call them the Washington football team because apparently they can't get that copyright.
Can't
So
get the copyright of the football team anymore? Well, I thought that was just
That one guy who's buying up all of them.
I thought
he's
they
a
want,
beast.
I thought it's because he wanted the red tail. Oh, so this is a new thing, a new development.
they apparently
It's the same
tried-
guy. He just buys them.
Because
No,
he
but
bought the red
apparently-
tail one, which is what they wanted to, and they were holding out basically.
So
for
apparently, like
They should've just paid him for it.
or something like that.
Give him
they-
$100,000.
it's principle.
Like apparently, like a week or two ago,
Advanced
they
nitrogen.
tried to get the like the apparel rights or something to like print under like that name or whatever, and like the
Good.
they were like no, it's too close to like something else, and like I sat back and went, so that guy turned around.
I wanted
Why
to
don't they just suck it up and name themselves the Washington Caucasians and like make that up for 80 years and
Because
then
we
they'll
already
change
know
the
that
name of the team
Because
again?
people misuse Caucasian. Caucasian is not meant to be white. Caucasian is supposed to be from the Caucasus area, which we
Yeah.
all know is more tan than white.
That it is.
But I mean, school in America did not do a good
No,
job
that's
teaching
very,
that.
that's true. That's where the Caucasus
School in
Mountains
America
are.
did not do a good job teaching that in the 90s and 2000s. They probably
All
before
right,
that.
So this is for week 2.
Alright.
But
Why
so,
do the Bills
so what
have
are
to
we
do
calling?
that?
Wait. So what are we calling them? Washington
I'm still calling them the Redskins.
American not
I'm
American
calling the
soccer.
Redskins until we're canceled.
Wait, so break it down.
American non-soccer
break it down real
team?
quick again. They can't go by the football team this
No,
year?
so I guess they're allowed to be called that, but they can't print
Print shirts.
apparel
Well, because
under
I was
that
gonna
name.
buy one of those fucking T-shirts.
Because you know it's going to be
Like-
like.
Yeah,
I know it's going to be
yeah.
collector's item in 20 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
no,
never
no.
going to be a thing.
Yeah.
No, it
No.
really is, because it'll be like the 2 years they were named something completely different that like fucking no one's ever gonna believe, and this is
And they
why.
won a
BJ's had
division with that
cards.
team. With that
So I
name.
bought 2 packs of,
I saw they had
of
on the
cards.
counter.
One of them I dropped getting out of my car like a fucking schmuck, so I couldn't resell the box on eBay, so I just started opening
Just
some
open them and then
packs.
sell the cards if they're
What?
I got
sports cards.
I got number
Ah.
313 out of 500 on a Christian Darrisaw card, and
Okay.
I got 2 Jamar Chase cards. One of the cards that I got that I just think is cool. I don't think it's worth anything. It's Brian Urlacher, Ray
Yeah,
Lewis,
I got the
and
schedule
Lawrence
up there.
Taylor on one card, and it just
Which-
says linebacker.
That is pretty cool.
That's-
That's something you put in a
that's just a
picture.
cool
You
card.
blow that up, print it out, put it in like a frame, and like put that on your wall. It's
I
hard.
got him behind Grumpy Cat.
Actually, good segue though, because you brought up Washington. That is your third opponent.
It is.
I
It
will-
is
the more I look-
Washington
the more-
at the Bills, which again,
The more I look at this
Thank you for
game,
bringing that up, young Jamie.
the more I
Keeping
could
us on
see
track.
them maybe
I-
losing, but they're not because
I
Against
don't.
Washington?
you're gonna get bad fits in this game. So yeah, out of the
You
first
think they're
three.
getting bad fits?
Out of the first 3 games, I would say the best chance they had to lose would be against Washington.
Well, Fitz
But-
does well in revenge games, which is every game.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, this is every
Yeah,
year.
he's
Mike.
played for half of the fucking
maybe
time.
that was his plan. Maybe that was his like
Motivation.
Madden legacy player thing.
Like,
where like you need to only play well against teams that cut you in the past.
Which
So
is
he had
now
to get
a-
cut
That's a-
by half
That's
the
a
league.
Madden ability.
But no, I have him going.
which is now all of them.
I got him throwing
It's
up.
like career journeyman.
So honestly, for this one, it's one of those things where I do think it's gonna be bad fits. I also think again, 1:00 games in Buffalo, I feel like are almost locks because I don't. Maybe it's just from last year. I watched when we were in primetime, we weren't as good, and
No,
a big part of it
it's-
was because we played Tennessee and the
Don't
Chiefs
forget-
in that weird
but you guys-
pushing games back.
Yeah,
kind of
you
thing,
guys
but-
were jerked around for
I-
Tuesday night, a Thursday
well,
night.
No, not
you know.
only that again. Like
all
for-
because Tennessee and like those
Yeah.
people are
For
not
this
willing to follow
particular-
protocol when
Yeah.
for this again to this
and then the
particular
entire other
point.
team has to reschedule.
To this particular point, 1:00 games for them. Again, it is because of their fans at home. Because if you give them till 4:00 or later,
Oh,
You see me at the bar at 4:00. Now
Yeah.
imagine being a local.
There's not gonna be a single table left in Buffalo.
it doesn't go very well for. Yeah, no, it just doesn't go very well after they've been drinking.
You guys
for, like,
remember
6 hours, but they're
the
very nice people, but they're very rowdy people.
So I'm afraid to ask, but is this a clean sweep on week 3?
Yeah.
Before- and then you
what's the
can-
guy? What's the guy's
Dude,
name?
like I said, as Andrew said,
Tim
it
Russer.
should be a lot easier to go through yours.
You guys remember who Tim Russer was? He was like a political
no.
analyst. He hosted debates. Biggest Buffalo Bills fan of all time. I remember once he was just like, Buffalo, we have the Bills, and that's it. And that's all we care about. But even though they got the Sabres
Because we don't care about the Sabres, even though
But
Pagula
he-
owns both.
Yeah.
I think he died a few years back of a heart attack, but he was like the biggest Bills fan I remember seeing on TV at the time.
Josh Allen is like football's version of Sedoni Chara.
Only he's from America.
Huge and strong.
Only he's from America, not like the Czech Republic. Yeah, that's true. What was it? There was also Hawani. Hawani, the guy who's an MMA analyst. He's a diehard Bills fan too. I've just seen it. Like I never knew that. It was one of those things where like all of a sudden the people who are embarrassed to I guess say they were Bills fans are now coming out of the woodworks that the team is not an abomination.
Closet Bills.
Tim
fans.
Russert, he was a big time fan when they were
Trash.
not good. When
They were very not
it
good.
was like
Very
when
good.
before Flutie even came around, it was back then. Who was before Rob Johnson? Maybe.
Rob Johnson and
Well,
Flutie
they were on
kind
the
of
same
like
team at one point, right?
Yeah, but Rob Johnson I think
But-
came first, and
yeah.
then Flutie came on, and then was better than Rob Johnson.
And then they started Johnson in that playoff game.
because the owner was like, we traded this for. Because we
I
got
remember,
Johnson
I
for
remember that
Jacksonville.
from Doug Flutie.
We got it from
football
Jacksonville.
life.
I just remember watching that.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that game.
Wade
and I
Phillips
was like,
wanted
what the fuck?
Flutie, which is why I'll always be a Wade Phillips fan.
Yeah.
Because
But
he
Wade
went
Phillips
for, like,
also a beast. Remember his dad
Very
was
good
the coach
defensive
who wore
coach.
that like huge fur coat
And that hat.
And then when Wade Phillips made
Yeah.
it to the Super Bowl,
Oilers coach.
the first time he wore his dad's jacket and hat to the Super
Yeah.
Bowl because that's what his dad wore to the Super Bowl. So like that's how can you not like that?
He also was the reason that the Sean McVay, when he took over that job as that head coach, handpicked the 70-something-year-old Wade Phillips to run that defense. Because he's like, I know everything there is to know about offense. I don't know crap about defense. So you're just going to tell them how to succeed, and I'm going to handle this whole boy cheese
So
stuff.
Queen
That's what
sweep
you
for
hope
3, let's
politicians
go to
do.
4.
Oh, we got it.
That's what you hope
Yeah,
politicians do.
yeah,
Is they double
okay.
down on the thing they're good at.
another
and
one
then-
now.
Well, that was the last one I'm doing with y'all. I had to
Yeah,
drive
I can't
there.
either. You guys know that? I gotta be up in like 4 hours. Not 4 hours, but close enough. Might as well be 4.
It's still light up.
I go to bed now between 8 and 9. Sometimes it's still light
I was
out.
about to say, it's when it starts to get dark.
Yeah.
Alright, I don't think we need much analysis to just
No.
assume that they're going to beat the Texans because we
4-0.
don't think Deshaun Watson is playing.
I got like 3 Deshaun Watson cards also, and I was like, this is worthless.
Right now it is. That's going to be worth something though when he comes back. Like Watson is going to play. I'm saying when for the sole reason that one of the
You don't like it?
No,
I think it's actually smoother than other tequilas.
What?
I'm like, I was drinking like fucking El Tesoro and Patron and Don Julio
Well,
with
that's
that
why.
like 3 days ago.
Well, that's why. You went for prime rib to hamburger or something like that? Is that what you're saying?
I guess
that's hard
If
to
this is
say.
hamburger, I don't want to know what Jose Cuervo is.
Yeah, I think this was not. I mean,
Spam?
That's dog. That's what
I mean,
caused coronavirus.
I will say, like, this followed by this is not the greatest of, like, combo. But, like, this stuff's not bad. I enjoy trying on it.
but I do think Watson
Yeah, but there's one that's really good.
Oh, yeah.
There's one Terramana that's really good, and I decided to get this instead of the Reposado. Because I'm like, why would I get that?
I mean I agree with you. I don't know, do they have it on Yellow?
I'm sure. Oh, maybe not. Maybe they're still too young. Right? Like as a, you need to
Yeah,
have
2
what,
years.
2 years, yeah.
2+. But anyway, I do think Watson's coming back for the sole fact that one of the women that accused him of it, I believe, reached out. Now, granted, that lawyer said no, and that it didn't happen. But they reached out for a settlement. And the fact is, in any case, this is like take the Deshaun Watson thing off the table. In any case, when somebody requests a settlement, that means that whoever
not that
requested it is
confident.
not as confident in their case. And when one lawyer is pulling all those people into one thing, and one person says
That's right. That was the weirdest thing.
it's quite possible that half of them will.
I've
do
never
that.
seen that before where one lawyer was representing all these women, right?
Because that's almost like a class action lawsuit,
Well,
right?
that's-
But I never
kind
saw
of
that. Like how many women were like
I
20
want to say
something?
20 something.
Yeah.
I think it was 22.
And this guy was wrangling
Yeah, I think it
all
was
by
20
himself.
I think it was 22 because I saw
That-
a lot of memes that were joking around that this year's Madden was going to be Big Ben and Deshaun Watson on the cover because it was Madden 22
When I
allegations.
saw that, that's what made me think this might not be. There's something wrong here about that. You know, it just doesn't.
Allegedly,
Gives off a weird-
allegations, allegedly.
Yeah.
Alright,
It's off a
so.
bad vibe.
And he also just has a little bit of a checkered past, the lawyer, with regards to the case that he's
So-
handled and whatnot. Not saying that he's not legitimate, just.
So where are we at? Is that 4 straight or
4-0.
5 straight?
That's 4 straight. So we
Four
all have them
straight.
starting off 4-0. So when they don't start off 4-0, you can look back to this podcast and say you guys are idiots.
I was talking to someone
so-
earlier today, and I was like, we're recording what we think the Bills are going to do, and then later on in the season, we're going to look back at it and laugh at ourselves for how wrong we were.
So this, I think, is probably where you're looking at your first hard game and where you're going.
We're going to Kansas City on a Sunday night
That's
prime
their first.
time.
That's going to be their first loss.
That's, if there is going to be a first loss, that will be
Yeah.
the first loss.
I have them losing.
Yeah.
Just and
That's
and it-
rough, though.
but
I think
it's-
they're going to be neck and neck with them all year for the top seed. But as of this, it's too early at this point, and until they beat them, let's just like how it is with certain teams taking a division over. Until you actually until I see
Yeah.
you beat them, I gotta go.
Like with us and the Pats last year.
Yeah,
Until we beat
same
them
thing.
twice.
Yeah.
And one of them was very fortunate with Zimmer knocking
And it's
off.
nothing against the
Candace
Bills.
Caldwell
It's
when
nothing
he was
against the
playing.
Bills. It's Kansas City's been the top dog now for the last 2 or 3 years.
In boxing, they call that the lineal champ. The guy could not even have the belt. So like when Muhammad Ali decided not to go to war, he had to vacate his title because he went to jail. He was the lineal
'Cause he wouldn't go
champion
to war.
because
Yeah, I remember that.
So he was the lineal champion because like no one beat him to make him get rid of his belt. So he was still the guy to beat to prove that you deserve to be champion. Mike Tyson, same deal, went to jail, had to give up his belts. But like,
So you're saying to be a boxer, I just need to go to jail?
no.
The two best, arguably the two best ever, won't follow that
Yeah,
path.
one was like a conscientious objector, like I'm not gonna go over there and kill these people who have never done anything to me in my life. He's like, I'm not about that, and they sent him to jail.
Oh,
for
I
that.
said the reason I was going
Mike
to jail.
Tyson went to jail for like
Being Mike Tyson.
he was the baddest man on the planet, man.
Yeah, you can't have that title and not go to jail.
I
Right?
got
You're basically
a-
proving yourself.
Well, it's also weird because like if you're 20 years old and someone gives you $400 million, are you really only gonna make good decisions? Like
I got you.
the answer is no. Like right.
Just so we're clear, that
like LeBron James is probably the cleanest dude who got a shitload of money early on. Like Jordan had gambling. He got a lot of shit for that. Like,
Jordan also. Yeah, here's the other thing. But Jordan wasn't under the spotlight that LeBron was at 17.
Yeah.
Like LeBron, as a
Yeah.
teenager, before he played a game in the NBA, was on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, and I remember looking at that, and I don't watch ESPN, so I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy? Isn't Dwayne Wade or Carmelo going to be the first pick this year?"
I love you both, but
Keep us on track, Rob. That's why we appreciate
Well, yeah, but
you.
if we're gonna go back on track, I think this is a win for the Bills.
At KC?
I think that they had this game circled, and I think that this is the game because Kansas City embarrassed us twice last year. Once where Clyde Edwards-Helaire ran for 200-something yards on us because we were like, "You're not going to pass on us in the rain," and they were like, "Okay," and then they ran on us for 200 yards.
And then in the playoffs, when we were like, we're gonna guard everybody but Kelsey, apparently,
And they were like, "Okay," and then they threw to Kelsey for 200 yards. I think this is the one time where they've had it circled. The players want this. They might even. It wouldn't surprise me if they lost to Houston because of this, because they are so focused on this game with an eye to the next week. But I'm going to say that whatever it is, this is going to be a win. Now, that being said, to keep us on track, I think we then drop Tennessee at Tennessee.
See, I
I
was
think
gonna
we
give
blow
them-
our load in Kansas City, and I think that
I was
going to
give him the dub in Tennessee.
yeah, see, I was gonna flip it and say they lose in Kansas City and then come back extra
Same.
vigilant on Monday night against. The
Even though
Titans.
back-to-back road games against both of those teams
But
is not
it's
easy.
too.
Especially-
Yeah, but if they take that first L, they're not losing that second game.
Correct.
I don't see this
Correct.
Bills team letting that
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, I don't see
we
two.
lost to these two teams back to back
but I
last
don't,
year.
I don't see two
Yeah,
losses
which is
in a row
why I
this
don't
season.
see it happening.
Yeah,
this
I don't
season.
see 2 losses in a row. I don't
I
think
got you.
at all this season.
I also am going to
I
just
don't-
put this out there.
I'm questioning Kansas City's superiority, this pedestal that everybody's putting them on. And now, if you want to put Mahomes on there, that's fine. But let's take a look here for a second.
Coach.
Cheetah.
They're an offensively driven team, obviously. That defense has disappointed last year, to say the least. Cheetah proved that his hands are not the elite hands that we want. His speed gets him open and whatnot, but he, especially in the Super Bowl, had a couple very easy passes that he dropped. Kelsey is another year older, and I believe he's 32 at this point. So he's still going to be good, but he's obviously on the back nine of his career, and you can expect every year him to
He's
get a
gonna
little
get a
bit
little-
worse
yeah.
at least. That O-line is completely new, so I'm curious, and like you played O-line, you understand how chemistry, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but chemistry matters for O-line. We brought back 5 same starters, they have 5 new starters. That's a thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And ultimately, at the same, there are just so many holes that I think Patrick Mahomes does a great job masking, and Andy
How old
Reid
is
from
Kelsey?
Scheme Point does a great job masking, that we all kind of just overlook the fact that they have all of these holes. Spagnuolo does a good job sometimes too, but you've ran that the roller coaster ride with Spagnuolo. He could create that
Yeah.
NASCAR package that wins you a Super Bowl, and then get fired and end up in for the Rams like in 2
The
years.
Saints.
I mean, he was the head coach of the Rams, where I think Spags was probably a little out of his depth. Because it's one thing to be like, oh,
He was the hot coordinator.
I have 6 fast defensive ends. How can I get as many of them on the field at once as possible?
Looks like that's what we're doing now when we.
Kelsey's 31.
31.
I have
Yeah,
one other
Swire.
since
Check it out
Kansas,
for
since
us.
we still got
Appreciate the
Kansas
fact
City
check.
real quick. Do you guys hear about Le'Veon Bell talking shit about Andy Reid?
I
You hear what Andy Reid said? He's
I
like,
didn't-
I wish him well. I don't give a shit about him.
Did he,
Something like
did,
that.
He, did he actually? I didn't hear his reaction, but I was like, what could he have said? Because he said it was something that Andy Reid said to him. What
I
could
don't
Andy
know.
Reid have said to him that pissed him off like
You're
that?
not that
Maybe
good
like show
anymore.
up to practice on time and put in a little effort.
Yeah.
You're not the man anymore.
But then he retracted it. He was like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that
It's
stuff."
because he realized it was career suicide.
It's probably his agent telling him, "You're not going to get another job if you keep saying that shit, especially now."
Yeah, like it's one thing
Wow.
to shit talk Adam Gase.
That's what we should have talked shit
It's
about.
another
Yeah,
thing.
they were trash talking
It's another thing to
Oh,
shit
yeah.
talk
Andy
Reid, who's like,
One of the best coaches out there.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he is anyway.
yeah.
It's really interesting when he was in Philly. He was the guy who can't get you there. The guy who can't. And now he's the best.
When he was
He
with
wins one Super Bowl,
When-
and he's the best.
no, when he was with the Eagles, I said,
I mean, the Giants
I
had to
told,
stop him.
I had fans in college and
Tom Brady couldn't even make it through the Giants. Like, how can you
Wait,
expect
the
Andy Reid
Eagles,
to?
the Eagles got through the Giants
Yeah, once.
multiple times.
With
They, were,
Andy Reid, once.
they went to the NFC Championship game like 4 or 5 years in a row. I don't
4
think the
years in a
Giants
row.
were in any of those games.
Alright, so
I appreciate your confidence and your pride in your team, but you just wrong.
How many Super Bowls
So-
did the Giants win with Eli, and how many did Donovan win with Andy Reid?
Now you're changing the context of the question. If that's what you
Right.
want to do, we can do that.
So-
But for Tennessee, we ended up with me being a loss and everybody being wins, which ended
Oh,
into
Born,
the bye.
how did you feel about
yeah,
that game?
so
What?
at this
He-
point we
he said
are
win.
now
He was-
to
Kansas City against.
No, Tennessee and Buffalo. After
That's
the
a,
Kansas City.
that's a win for the Bills, yeah.
Okay.
5-1.
yeah. So essentially we all have it flipped. Like you have the
We have them not losing to KC
Yeah.
again, and we have them bouncing back after a
Yeah.
loss to KC.
Okay.
Right.
So which brings us to your second game against the Dolphins, which is the Dolphins at the Bills.
Win. That's a win. Come on.
On Halloween.
Which-
it is the
That'd
31st.
be spooky
which-
if they lose.
Which definitely if I
Tua's gonna be seeing
You know
ghosts
what?
at it.
Yeah. That's the game you should go up there for. You should find a couple
Halloween
Dolphin fans
in
to go up
Buffalo?
there. That'd be a lot of
You
fucking
could light a
fun.
table on fire.
I'm
No
telling
First
one
of
would
all,
give
we
a
don't
shit.
fly, we drive.
Yeah, we tried.
Me and
don't
Bougie.
I didn't say fly. I didn't say fly, did I?
Yeah.
I think you might just.
I thought I said go up there.
I would fly. I'd make
We can check
Goncher.
the tape after.
I would make Goncher get up here to.
If Goncher will drive us to
Fly-
fly us to
fly-
Buffalo,
Nah,
then we got some.
it's not really worth it because I think even like the nearest airport, it would still put us like 2 hours away. So,
We
like,
bring a lot of tailgating stuff.
Yeah, like so,
What if you went down to Trenton, and took from that airport to Buffalo?
but like again, the tailgating stuff, like I don't.
Yeah,
wanna keep
it
up-
would put them overweight.
Yeah, I don't want to keep.
We'd
up.
have to buy everything there and have to be all like.
Plus, like you
Like,
can't bring
nah.
like propane tanks on an airplane. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
And
Goncher
even
does
if you're
seem to be
allowed
very
to-
proud about his job and
If you're
followers.
allowed to bring propane tanks
They
on a
have to be
plane, you
empty.
probably shouldn't.
They have
That's
to
one
be
of those like
empty.
common
Empty.
sense things. Like, yeah, you should be allowed to have 30 bullets in your gun. Maybe you don't need to carry that on your hip everywhere. you
Like
go.
the like,
Right? Like,
well,
you should be allowed to do
so-
it, but you should have the common sense not to do.
In order to ship a car, even just in a container, the gas tank has to be disconnected and emptied. So
That's it. And in New Jersey, if you want to drive with a fucking gun in your car, the bullets have to be in a locked separate compartment from the gun.
That's just to make sure that your kid doesn't grab the gun and start shooting out the window like
You wanna
Gotcha
remind me how you
shooting paintball guns at.
Allegedly,
You got caught.
not by the cops.
No, but you told me that happened. Are you a liar?
You're like, I was.
Are you a liar or a criminal? Which one?
I got him at 6 and I think we all have. We all
My
have.
boss watches this. Yeah.
1, 2, 3,
So
4.
as of beating the Dolphins, we all have the Bills at 6-1. Regardless.
But now we're going against Beatty's boy Sunshine in Jacksonville.
I mean, just because he's my boy doesn't mean he's a miracle child.
I know. I just was throwing you a softball here so you could talk about Trevor Lawrence for a
You're gonna
second
get
before we
hit.
all give him wins.
Yeah, they're gonna light him up. What are you, nuts? Come on.
So here, I will say this.
Yeah.
If Tim Tebow catches or throws or runs
What?
a touchdown pass in that game, I want
That means
someone
it's
to buy me a drink.
it's in garbage time if that fucking happens.
Well, here's the thing.
No, what if he runs like an inside slant as your slot tight end?
He's not even gonna make the team.
Well, here's
I'm
the
telling
thing.
you.
You know what the
Of course he's gonna
Vegas
make the
odds-
team.
I know I know.
Him and Urban Meyer
So
made
what?
sure like 42 other dudes did not go to jail that year.
You're rounding down.
No,
But anyway.
no, that's 42 of the dudes on that roster at that time had a criminal record.
I know. I didn't know it was that exact number, but it doesn't surprise me.
Considering
They were
we've seen who came out of
They were
that.
talking about it on Rogan. They brought it up because they brought up.
Does
Aaron
Rogan
Hernandez
pay
on
you
the
to give him this
Yeah,
many
you
plugs?
give him
No,
a lot.
so, like,
you
you
give
know,
Rogan a lot of pops on this fucking podcast.
Do you want to join us, Joe?
Does he give us any
Joe
pops?
Rogan. I
If
would
you're ever in New
appreciate-
Jersey, hit us up.
No, you know what? I think Joe Rogan is of a like mind though. That like
No, he's
Alpacas are better than llamas, so maybe he would give us.
All right.
I don't know.
Fair enough, but look. Oh, dude. By the way, on a quick side note, shit. Are we doing another one for Jacksonville? This is the Miami one right here. Are we doing
No,
Jacksonville too?
let it ride.
All right.
We've skipped a few of them, man. We can't.
We've only skipped.
We can't rip like 14 shots in a row because we're doing.
Well, maybe you guys should start being bold like me. Giving them L's? Giving them a win against at Kansas City? Yeah, that's bold.
That is.
Considering the three of you said
Yeah.
loss, I feel like that's bold.
Fair.
I also gave him a loss against Tennessee when all three of you said win. So again, that's bold because
That's lone wolf.
No, but one thing also, the Vegas prop for receiving yards for Tebow for the year is set at 12.5
Yards?
yards. Now again,
At the over.
Now wait.
He's gonna get 14
But here's
yards
the
on
thing.
his
Here's
first
the thing.
touchdown.
If he doesn't make the team,
not.
only some places will give you a refund if he doesn't make the team. If he doesn't make the team, you lose your money.
What about the strat? What's the strat doing on it?
I have no clue what that means.
That's a hotel, casino in Las Vegas.
Oh, I don't know what specific hotels. Look at this bougie motherfucker with his collared shirt talking about how he knows.
That's where they filmed the roulette videos. The two Asians.
Okay. Oh, that's where they filmed.
Yeah,
it.
they film it at the strat.
All right. So let's take these shots really quickly in honor of our next game
Of
because
course.
that's when we come to
Where we
playing. We're at week 10.
the bye week.
Yeah, we have an earlier one at week 7.
Okay.
But we're at week 10 where the Buffalo Bills travel down I-95 to visit the Jets.
Can you load up the other spreadsheet?
They're right here.
The Jets spreadsheet?
Yeah, I
I
got it right here.
can't change them. I can't. See,
I just want
Rob,
to see if
I
we're
did the
still in
Jets
line
schedule.
with where we were because
So-
I think it'll be interesting.
Rob, I did the
'Cause
Jets
I think this
schedule already,
happens on like
so I can't change
on
it.
NFL Network and ESPN. I don't think the analysts pay attention to
Previous predictions
yeah,
that
to
they
their
make.
other predictions.
And they'll be like, oh yeah, of course, this team's gonna get 10 wins.
I
This
get so
team's gonna
pissed
get
off
10
when I
wins.
see that, honestly.
And then
I,
it's like-
I keep in mind of that.
And then it's like, there's
But you-
32 teams, and you guys gave 18 teams 10 wins. That
doesn't work.
Yeah, because you're not paying attention to the fucking schedule.
And I
So
felt
I
like that
had
even.
Adam load up our spreadsheet to see where we're at.
Yeah.
And I even felt like that way when people are now talking about like, oh, now the Packers have
So-
all the leverage with Aaron Rodgers. I'm like,
you literally 2 weeks ago were telling me that Aaron Rodgers had the leverage. So will you just get the
off of TV because obviously you are only on there for whatever you are bringing aesthetically.
So the way that I look
Really?
at it is this game is it depends if we're still healthy and if there's still anything left to play for.
I
At week 10?
You want to know how many
At
games
week
I
10?
You know how many games I
We
gave?
just added a week for you guys, so you can
You
make
saw
sure
how many
that it's
games
not
I gave.
bad.
How many wins I gave the Jets,
Yeah,
right?
no,
I gave them 8.
Yeah.
So it's like
That's like 4 too many.
That's true.
you gave the Giants fucking 11 wins.
Because they're gonna get 11 wins. Bills are getting a win right
You have
here.
a very good memory.
He has a very good memory. You remember
I
that?
had to
he doesn't smoke weed.
I got you. Yeah.
Well, no, it had nothing to do with that. It was
He's
just
on that alpha brain chip by Joe Rogan.
So I feel like I also interrupted Rob at one
Yeah.
point there while I was talking.
Go ahead.
I think this is going to be a good game. I think it'll be a close game. I think the Bills still come out on top.
If it's a close game, I'll be very happy
I-
because I think it'll mean good things on the horizons for the Jets.
I think
Like
it'll
I
be,
don't want the Bills to lose
well,
this game.
I could see it being a touchdown game or something.
the reason I
Not a
say that
field
it'll
goal
be a
game,
close
but
game
maybe a
is
touchdown.
because for some reason most
They've had trouble
in-
playing in there for
in
the most
in
part.
the AFC
7.5 point spread. Are the Jets
in the-
covering it?
7.5.
Yeah. Jets covering 7.5.
Fucking hook is the problem.
I'm gonna say no. I think if you go up to
No,
10,
I bet you
say
they-
absolutely.
I could say they're losing by
Yeah,
So not 9.5 Jets are covering, 7.5 Jets
or not.
are on the thing.
That's
Yeah.
where I would be. I'm more confident that the Jets will cover than the Bills.
will cover that. Will cover the 7.5. But I just don't feel confident enough to lay any money on that.
I'm never confident in the spread bets. That's why I only bet the money line.
Because I'm like, the Jets are going to lose this game.
Which is
Giants are going to win this
Which in
game.
some cases doesn't make you as much money, but in other cases, you obviously increase more. If all of a sudden
No,
you're like, yeah, the Raiders are going to beat the
The
Chiefs.
spread you make
Wait,
more. Yeah.
Straight
Well-
up, the
well,
Raiders
you-
are going to beat the Chiefs like last year when they did.
You know I like that parlay. Jets, Giants, Bills, and then I just
Bet what I think the team is going to do that week. So like I'll go Bills win, Giants win, Jets loss.
Bills win, Giants loss, Jets loss.
I will say this. I don't understand why the Bills struggle so much against the Jets, specifically because we were one of the most pass-happy teams last year. We want to throw the ball around everywhere. And you don't have a single damn cornerback that the general public can name.
Pierre Desir.
He's not on the team
He's
anymore.
not on the team anymore. But he won. But he won Player of the
You've
Year.
proven our point.
I don't know why, but there's this weird phenomenon that happens when you look at the AFC East and they play each other. For some reason, the teams either play up or play down to one another, and they're always like either close games or like bloodbaths, or somebody's getting or somebody's getting injured, or
Do you
always
remember
personal.
if the Jets
Always
were good or really shitty? Josh Allen's first year in the league.
Who was?
Were the Jets good? Josh Allen's first year in the
No.
league.
No.
No, they drafted Sam Darnold that year.
Same,
Oh, okay.
same year.
Yeah, no, I mean like we
Because if they were good, he might just have it in his head.
That like, oh, this is like a rough team for me to play. Maybe.
I get that perspective. My thing is that when you set every single Buffalo Bills passing record in a single season, that same year, this
goes
last
out of your
year,
head?
that all of a sudden now, like, yeah, exactly. But that was the year where Bass, our rookie kicker, kicked 5 field goals, and that was like really our only offensive scoring.
Yeah.
That was like when
I think we won 15 to 12 or
15 to 10 or
15 to 10,
something.
something
Elliott
ugly.
kicked a lot of field
This
goals
past
like that
year,
for
yeah.
the Eagles.
Yeah, I
He
remember.
kicked like a 62-yarder to beat the Giants.
Do you remember the one game?
Oh,
His
is that
rookie-
rookie?
his
Is
rookie
that still
year.
hurt?
The one game
Yeah.
that the
Is that why
one
you never let us draft him in Madden?
the one time in the past few years at home the Jets were home where there was a blowout between these two teams. It was a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. See if you guys remember this. You had once this guy came into the game, I couldn't believe it, and then he threw on him for like I think they put 45 on the Jets. Matt Barkley, remember that?
Barkley, yeah.
Could I could not. I was laughing through that entire game because I didn't know how other way to react. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Matt Barkley is straight up was there to teach Josh Allen,
Yeah.
and he was still putting up points. Now he
blew the doors off the
Matt
Jets that day.
Barkley is a solid backup because he was one of those guys that was projected to be a first-round pick coming out of USC.
He was like the last good USC quarterback.
God.
I mean, that's sad. That's sad because it's not false, but it's just sad. But the point being is like he was going to be
It
a
wasn't
top
Sam
first-round
Darnold.
Thanks for the shot,
Yeah.
Sam Darnold. Appreciate it.
pick. Yeah.
Anytime.
Can we go through one fucking podcast without bringing him up?
For what's worth, I'm defending
I
him
don't
with you the
think so.
entire time.
I
I mean,
don't think so.
not to your extent.
I don't
think
so.
he's going to be good, but I don't think he's as bad as Adam Gase made him look.
I think he's gonna light us up.
And also, just so we know, we all are in line. We all said loss. Well, you didn't make it that week, but where Steve also said loss, and he's not here this week. But we're in line with what we said for the Jets week for this week. Nobody changed their opinion like ESPN does. That's right, ESPN. I'm calling you out,
Oh, I did get him like.
especially you, Stephen A.
Fuck him.
You didn't say anything about this game. You didn't say anything about this football stuff. But you obviously are playing more to your personality, and we all know it. You are a personality on TV. I like you. I think you're a brilliant man. I think you're brilliant at what you know about. Stop playing yourself into a caricature.
I love that Stephen A. Smith overemphasizes 3 and above syllable words.
That's because he's just so proud that he knows them. That's not true. He's an intelligent man. I'm not trying to say anything about that.
Yeah, he's gone through way more schooling than I have. I just think it's very funny that he'll be like the fundamentals, or like, but it's every.
I thought it was just because he demeans Max Kellerman. He's like, you're just a stupid one. You do not know what you're talking about. I'm going to break it down nice and slow.
Well, I also don't
like this.
What do we have now?
I'm also not a big fan of Max Kellerman, but
I'm not either, but again, I think he's a caricature too at times. I think he knows his boxing. If you want to talk about boxing, he knows his shit. I'm not gonna.
I don't think he does. I don't think he knows his boxing.
All right, we can do that on like an after hours thing if we want to talk about that. I do think he knows his boxing. I just think at this point he's got to play second fiddle because the way that First Take works, it's Stephen A's show. So basically, they're supposed to be debating. Like the entire premise of the show is that they're supposed to go against each other. Sometimes they will agree, but for the most part, there are times where I'm like, you're really pulling strings to get there to be an argument because logic tells you 99% of the people in the world think A, and your one person is that adamant about B. It's hard for me to get behind.
I'm not the biggest fan of him. Just, I don't know.
I like Greeny. I like Greeny
He's
on
good.
on Get Up. I like
He's good.
Keyshawn J. Will and
I know they're on. I don't listen. I listen to the other morning show on WFAN.
Which one?
Boomer in Jail. 101.9, Boomer
Okay.
Esiason. and
Oh,
Greg
AM?
Giannone. Yeah, well, 660 AM, 101.9 FM.
Yeah, I used
Yeah.
to listen. I used to listen to 101.9
Yeah.
before I got XM.
XM, yeah.
satellite right? Is Sirius.
XM Sirius, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I thought they were ESPN, those guys, Keyshawn and ESPN, right?
They are.
Oh, they are?
They are. So I listen to them in the morning when I go.
Oh, but
in,
you listen to them on XM to get better.
When no. What I'm saying is before I got Sirius,
Uh-huh.
I was listening to 101.9
Oh,
as
yeah,
like my
yeah.
thing, and I was listening to them in the morning on my way in to work. Okay, so let's try it back. I know Rob is in the back scene was trying to do it for a while, and I was waving him off like Aaron Rodgers should have to Matt LaFleur when he was sending the kicker out in the playoffs. But we're now
Didn't
going.
someone say some shit like that on Jeopardy?
Oh, when they were like,
When it was like, the guy in Final Jeopardy took the shot and was like, why did you kick the field goal or something like that? And Aaron Rodgers chuckled. He was like, that's a good question. Unfortunately, it's wrong. So we're gonna.
Aaron Rodgers is just such a fucking beast.
Yeah, he's pretty.
In all
He's
aspects
a cool
of
guy.
life, he is a
Yeah,
fucking
he is.
beast.
He's gotten sour on me, though, with this whole thing, with him and the Packers.
At this point, I do agree that it comes across a little bit as throwing a hissy fit because
Yeah.
we all agree that the Packers have the leverage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, yes, he can hold out, and he can even sit out an entire year and not collect money. Meanwhile, the team that drafted the quarterback of the future, yeah, they won't have a chance for a Super Bowl this year. But they always are that
But then they'll have a
organization
better draft pick than they would if they started Aaron
to
Rodgers.
pair with Jordan Love. So Rodgers is coming
Yeah.
back. We all know that.
Yeah.
And like we've been on. At least I know I have been. I don't want to put words in your guys' mouth. On this podcast, I've been saying like he's not going anywhere.
I don't think he is either. He's just,
Like Denver was a fancy thing, but he's
Yeah.
not going.
hopefully not. I don't,
He's not.
I don't need him on Denver. I need him on Denver like I need a third nut. So, anyway.
I'll make you 150
Run out of semen.
cents.
Run out of semen that quickly.
Like meaning I don't need him on Denver.
I got you. But
Alright.
so let's move on to week 11 again because I saw Rob again trying to get us going. I again waved him off. Where the Bills are going to host the Indianapolis Colts. Now this is an interesting one because the Colts are it depends on how you feel about Wentz, but that team with Phillip Rivers in the playoffs pushed the Bills to the limit. Like we needed that last second interception to seal that game because Noodle Arm Rivers was like driving a comeback.
He's coaching
Yeah,
a
but
high
now
school
they have
team.
Carson Wentz, who's going to be hurt by that time. next
He's
year.
going to play and he's throwing at least 2 interceptions in that game. Guaranteed, at least 2.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Water bet?
Huh? Yeah, sure. Over under 2? No, just
Over 1.5.
Over under 1.5.
Over
1.5. Yeah, he's throwing 2 interceptions.
All right, we
at
got
least.
one. Now, damn it, you don't have put it on the board. We don't have that.
See, like, alright, the Colts game is cool and all. It's really the tandem of that game and the game after it that is what interests
What
me.
do you mean?
After them?
What do you mean?
Well, because, alright, so you host the Colts, and then I believe it's 4 days later y'all get prime time
On Thanksgiving.
in the Dome against the Saints
On
on
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. So,
The problem with the
It's-
dome is that Josh Allen can hit it, so like the ball might not go all the way.
It looked like she was laughing too with us as you
But-
said that.
No, she
But
just
it-
thought he was throwing chicken
no,
and was really
perfect.
disappointed that he
but
did.
it's that tandem of those, like that 1-2, because it's
So what are your thoughts? Let's try to tackle these 2 games in a row and we can comment on it. But so what do you mean? If we're gonna group them together, do you think like they're gonna win one, lose one?
yes, I think it'll be 50-50.
So which one? 50-50.
50-50, yes, 50.
With a chick.
I got him losing this
For
one.
those of you who have seen War Dogs,
If-
you'll
if-
understand that one.
If focus is on the Colts, they lose against the Saints. If focus is on the Saints, they lose against the Colts.
So what do you think is gonna happen?
Let's see how banged up they are after our game.
I would say they
Well,
beat the-
unfortunately, we have to
yeah.
make
Predictions now.
They're gonna-
On the bright side, you get a
uh,
chance to change it. You get a chance to change it before the season starts.
I'm going to say they're going to beat the Colts. They're going to lose. They're going to lose. To the
Yeah, I
Saints.
think they're gonna.
And they shouldn't lose to the Saints.
I
This
think
is the
they're
one
gonna
game that
lose
they're
against
probably
the Saints.
that they're going to lose that they probably shouldn't. But-
the other way.
It's not a terrible loss either because it's hard to win in
In New Orleans.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, Jameis is not a scrub. Like,
No.
you gotta remember, Drew Brees was not great for San Diego. Like, I love Drew Brees when he was in San Diego, in part because he was short, and I have my affinity for short quarterbacks outside of Russell Wilson, apparently, because I was just so wrong on that one. But then all of a sudden he goes to New Orleans, Sean Payton gets his hands on him, and he is a Hall of Famer. Hands down. I don't know if we want to say. I'd say first ballot, but regardless, he's a Hall of Famer.
Jameis Winston. can make
Jameis
all
Winston,
throws.
also know I'm on the Jameis train.
He
Like
can make all
I'm a
throws.
Jameis fan. You know that hardcore. So I believe that
You
this.
just got to fix him between years, and I think Peyton can do
And his
that.
eyes, which he
Yeah,
got
he just
fixed.
got that surgery.
All right. So from what I'm gathering from Rob, he thinks that it's going to be a win when Indy comes, but then the Bills are going to
Win-loss,
drop
yeah.
when they go down on Thanksgiving.
Same here.
And Andrew thinks the same thing. Beanie seems to have a contradictory opinion, though. Let's hear it.
They're gonna lose to the Colts at home with Carson fucking Wentz. Are you out of your mind?
This is also really nice because this way I get a little bit of a,
Come on.
a little bit of a break on these shots.
All right, go
I
ahead.
just think, you know how there's always that game that you're supposed to win that you lose?
See, I brought this up, and now you're just. All right, go ahead.
I think this is that game for them.
At home. All right. They're gonna go.
I think this is that
Come
game
on,
for
come on,
them.
Born. Come on, Born. Speak up. You apparently don't agree. Let him have the theory.
It's Carson Wentz, man.
I know, I'm right
He
there
hates
with you,
Carson
man.
Wentz.
I don't think he's that good either.
He's like Max Kellerman. He's been saying he fell off a cliff.
Is he gonna turn it over at least twice, and they're still gonna lose?
He didn't make that one. That's what he said that once.
I think Carson Wentz. I don't think it will be Carson Wentz that leads them to victory. I think it'll be Darius Leonard in that defense.
All right. That's fine.
So do you think they're going to win
I
then
think
at New Orleans, or do you think it's going to be a 2 in a row? Just because we're hammering both of those games.
No, I think the Bills are going to beat Jameis Winston, and that's the game that at least 2 interceptions get thrown in.
I could see that.
And I'm also going to agree with Beatty. I think that against Indy, that's going to be the game that they're going to eke out. I also am higher on Carson Wentz than you guys
Wait,
are. I think
you're saying they're gonna
we're
lose
going to
to
lose at home to
the
Indy.
Colts? Wow.
But we're going to win in the Dome against New Orleans,
All right.
and Josh Allen's going to take that turkey leg like he did against Dallas, rip a nice piece off it after the game, and let everybody know that he's the real deal.
All right.
Moving quickly on to Week 13, we then have New England coming to town. A no longer opting out New England, because everybody likes to talk about how they
That
had so many
shouldn't
damn
matter.
opt-outs.
That shouldn't matter who the quarterback is at that time. The Bills are gonna win that game.
I'm assuming that's going to be Mac Jones at this point.
If it's Mac Jones, I think it's definitely a win for the Bills. If it's Cam, I think it's on
It's
the fence.
more of a win for the Bills.
You think so?
Yeah,
You
he's
seem to be a
done.
Cam fan, though.
I like
Well,
Cam.
He's done, man.
I like him too, but I do think he's. When your game is so predicated, it's almost like he's the anti-Russell Westbrook. Where Russell Westbrook, as he's gotten older, that athleticism has still been able to, he's still explosive. It's amazing. I don't understand how he's able to do it when he's 30 or so. Cam, on the other hand, because he's had so many injuries, his game is so predicated on athleticism and poor mechanics that he just is not able. I don't think he's going to be able to. That being said, I also said I don't think he's going to be starting at this point. I think this is going to be the Mac Jones show. And I said it on draft day. I was thankful that they drafted Mac Jones because he's not the answer, and I'm glad that he and Tua are in my division. I worry more about Zach Wilson than I do about either of those two.
That's fair. Mac Jones didn't manage to win a title with Bama, right?
They did. They won last year.
Oh, okay.
His only year as a starter because he wasn't able to beat out Tua or Jalen Hurts the years before. Which also is a clean sweep. And then we go to something that we might also, I don't know how you guys feel, but going down to Tampa to face the Super Bowl reigning Buccaneers. I'm going to start with this one. I think this one's also going to be a loss. I think that
I think Tom Brady.
that defense, it's that defense that scares me. The offense definitely does give me some hesitancy, but I think Todd Bowles and that defense are just on another level. Where assuming health, that
it's also
defense
because
is
it's Todd
bad.
Bowles, and he knows how to play against the Bills.
That's true. He has the experience from being in the
Yes.
division, and it's like, and that defense was good. That was his first year, I think, as defensive coordinator for them, was
And what's-
or maybe second
And what's your game plan against them? Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Yes.
against the Bucks.
Yeah.
That is never the Bills' game plan.
No,
If that was the
not
Bills'
we were the
game,
least running game.
if that was the Bills' game plan, they would have made it further into the playoffs 2 years ago.
Yeah.
and last year,
How do you stop Tom Brady
keep him
Put him
off.
on the ground.
and keep him off the field? Those
They don't
things
run
are-
the ball enough. They
No.
don't.
Right, like I like
I mean-
Zach Moss, I like Devin Singletary,
Well,
but they both
was
seem
it-
more like complimentary running
was it
backs. More so,
Miami?
like you have Saquon. When you have a
Was it,
Saquon,
was
that
it
is
Miami
a
that literally
running
like,
back.
That's
I think it was
Yeah.
what
Derrick
it
Henry,
was-
CMC.
Wait.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara, like those top
Yeah,
dogs,
Adam,
those are
it
those
was-
guys.
it was
the
Miami,
Jets have a
no?
committee. They don't have that guy. The Bills have a committee. We don't
It-
have that guy. I
it
like
was-
my guys, but I also like my guys because I'm a Bills
It was
fan.
Miami, I believe,
And I like them both
that
in college,
played
honestly.
when Brady was on the Patriots. Miami played them, and they literally had the ball for 46.
Peyton Manning.
Was it Indy?
It was Peyton Manning when
They had the ball for 46
Peyton had
and
it
a
for 12
half
minutes, basically.
minutes.
Yep.
And Peyton won.
They gave him the ball for less than 15 minutes.
And the Colts still won.
I remember that because I was
do.
watching that. I was like, holy
Like-
shit, I can't believe I'm actually sort of rooting
No,
for
but I think Miami did it against
Just because
Brady
I wanted
too.
to see
Like,
if it worked.
But like they did it, they tried to do. I think Miami did it against Brady, where again similar scenario. They had the ball for like 46 minutes, and Brady had less than 20 minutes with the ball. Still beat them.
Like what he said,
it-
Moss and Singletary, they're both like complementary guys. You don't have that. They're not a number one, right?
I think
They're
Moss
not a
has-
number-
Singletary's already proven that he's not, and that's a shame because I thought that he could be. Because I
But
liked
I
him
didn't-
from the far line. I think the jury's out on Zach Moss because of his
Did you agree with
Because of
them
the injuries,
switching? I did notice because I saw a lot of their games this year because of the schedule that got pushed around. The Tuesday nights, Thursday nights. They would always like switch, like total series with Moss and Singletary. You know what I mean? They would,
I did notice that,
Why
yes.
did they do that? It just I
Guys,
never
I love
understood.
everybody. I unfortunately have to take off early tonight.
You gotta like text us the
Got a
rest
hot
of
date?
the
That's
wins
what I was
losses.
gonna say. We'll do.
We're just saying right now. We'll just let them go. Just let them.
Alright, we'll let him go quickly.
Yeah, the Robbie Rapid Fire.
Robbie Rapid Fire. I like it.
Go. All right, give me it.
Bucks
Loss.
at the Bucks. Okay. Home to Carolina.
Ooh, win.
Okay, New England now coming. Now we have to travel up to Foxborough.
Win.
All right. Now we travel. Now Atlanta comes to us.
Ooh. Loss.
Okay. I like.
I like
Hey,
it.
I like
That's
it.
the
I like
one
it.
that you're
Loss
supposed to
because,
win.
Yeah.
loss because Atlanta's going to need something to get into the playoffs, and that's where they're going to need
You
it.
think
That's a-
ATL's going to the playoffs?
We'll see what happens.
No, actually, I really like that. We can talk about
But
that in a
we'll-
second when he's not here to
we'll
defend
like
it. But
that.
I agree with you actually from that perspective. And finally, you weren't here, so I don't have to cross-check you on the game we're going to.
We got our tickets.
Week
18?
y'all
Yeah.
gonna win that game.
All right. We'll cut that part out for you, the Jets fans, so that way they don't get mad.
No, y'all gonna win that game. It's gonna be fun.
All right, so just as a clear thing, Rob is going to end with a 12-5 record at this point for the Bills. We'll again revisit all three teams before the season starts. But 12-5 doesn't. It sounds like that actually sounds relatively reasonable. I was thinking a 4 or 5 loss personally, but I think that was good. I appreciate you giving us the Robbie Rapid Fire.
We should do a second.
did the hands.
If anybody's seen Mythic Quest, you'll understand what I mean. He did the hands.
Appreciate you teaching them what I did not verbalize.
Man, that's it.
I like that show.
Good show. I love you guys.
I meant.
I'll see you next episode.
Yep.
Absolutely, because we got to figure out an agenda for that one. We
We'll
had
figure
3
something
agendas back to back, and now we got to actually start thinking again.
Yeah.
Catch you later, Roman. Alright, so really coming back to Tampa, I'm also going to agree with Rob on this one. I think this one is a loss. I just feel like that Tampa team, I don't think they're unbeatable. And if Tampa's coming up to us, I might be singing a different tune.
Yeah.
And now we get to actually... And now for those of you on this camera, you won't just see the back of my head, which I'm sure some people kind of might not mind, but hey.
Okay.
Hey, look at this. Looks like we just got to kick
Still
Phil
not
off
bad
Hathaway.
setup.
I'm joking.
Still not a bad setup.
No, I actually like this one.
But so I give him a loss. So how about you guys?
You want to go?
I think Tom Terrific's gonna get the dub. So I think the Bills are getting the L.
I don't think it's gonna be because of Tom though. I think it's gonna be
I don't
because of that
either.
defense.
I don't
I think
either.
that Tampa defense,
Yeah.
like I was a believer in Todd Bowles when he was with you.
I don't
understand
think he's
he bit
gonna
off
turn
more
the
than he
ball
could chew,
over.
kind of like what you said with who's the head coach that you said? that-
Spags.
Yeah, where he became a head coach and he bit off more than he could chew. I think it was a similar thing with Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles knows defense.
No,
There is
he's
absolutely no denying that.
He's a great defensive coordinator. Not good, great.
Yes.
So, I mean,
and now he has great talent on Tampa.
I don't
like
want him-
Devin White,
Yeah.
Levante David.
I'm probably
like-
gonna say they're gonna lose too. If they were home, I
right?
would.
Yeah.
If they were home, I think I would take them.
And he was injured for most of last year. He came back in time for like the playoffs, which
That's a
obviously we
big
saw.
boy, man.
Yeah, and
Those
that
are
basically
just
means
such
you.
large humans
The
that
run-
play that position.
I forget the stats, but the running game for opposing teams dropped like 20 plus yards or so per game when Vita Vea was in the game. That's
I believe it,
ridiculous.
yeah.
One man.
Mm.
That's ridiculous.
I'm sure Vince Wilfork had a similar impact on those next gen stats.
but they didn't track him at the time.
Vince Wilfork was also, I think, better at penetrating, and playing that 3 tech where you gotta basically just get upfield and disrupt him. I'm not saying Vita can't. Vince Wilfork is a Hall of Famer for a reason, because at 350 he could play the zero technique and the
4-3-D tackle. Yeah.
Like that's just ridiculous. But so we're all bosses. Do you want to do another one, or you?
I'm good. I can't. We gotta do these on a
And
Friday.
we're still pretty early.
We gotta do these on a
Yeah, but I've
Friday
been
night
drinking
one
since,
time.
Wait, is this 7:35?
Yeah.
Why does this one say 6:30? My laptop has been saying 6:35. I was like, damn, why is it so early?
I got a bunch of clocks around here that all
No,
say the
yeah,
same
they're
time.
all 7:35. Yeah. Man, my work computer's up here apparently wrong. That's not good.
You're like, yeah, I'm signing on at 6:30, and they're like, why is Adam showing up to work at 9:45?
That's no bueno. But okay, so if you don't
So
want
where
to,
are we at?
so if you want to break,
No, I'm
break.
good for now. Yeah.
All right. So now we got Carolina coming to Buffalo. So we got Sammy D.
Sammy Poo
That's a
Poo.
win for them. For the
Sammy
Bills.
D?
No, for the Bills. Come on. Especially coming off a loss and going home and playing against a quarterback that has not been, well, he did beat him up there a couple of years ago, but still.
I think Sammy Poo Poo's gonna shit the bed also.
Yeah.
You know, I like this Carolina team, but I'm going to say Buffalo is just a better team.
You like this Carolina team because you're gonna pick them in Madden and then instantly replace everybody else and move them out of Carolina.
I
Who
mean,
did you guys pick for against the Jets when they play the Jets week 1? Who did you guys pick? I took them. I think they're gonna get blown out.
I think I took the Jets.
I took Carolina.
Okay.
I had that water bet, but that's going to be a 10-plus point game.
Steve took the Jets,
Steve.
right?
Yeah.
Steve took the Jets.
Steve and Beatty took the Jets.
Did
You
Rob
and I
ever-
took losses. Rob wasn't there that week.
All right.
We got to do a Robbie rapid fire on the other two teams.
We do. Well, we need to get. Well, we do need to get at least something for him, so that way when we do the revisit before the season
We have
starts,
something
Yeah.
down.
he's got something to adjust if
Yeah.
he needs to adjust.
Yo,
Um,
Born, you should FaceTime him and somehow record the FaceTime, and then be like, "Yo, Rob, you think they're gonna win this game or lose this game? Okay, next. I just got a few more, dog. Just a few more. Another minute of your time. Another minute of your time."
I'm doing a bunch of DraftKings bets here. I don't know. Yeah, I need
Yeah.
your advice. I don't know. Maybe.
All right. So going up to New England,
In Foxborough.
I'm going to say this one's going to be a loss.
Hmm.
This is one of those ones where it's like, it's one of those I'm on the fence about, but I do believe that Bill Belichick is better than what the Patriots did last year. And this isn't
Yeah.
going to be about Mac Jones beating the Bills defense. I think this is going to be an ugly one. I think this is going to be a Belichick versus Allen via McDermott versus Mac Jones type of situation.
saying
And
he's gonna
I love
confuse
McDermott.
him?
Yes, he's
Does he
gonna,
have the players though?
I think that. Well, here's the big thing. As of
McDermott
now,
or Belichick?
as of now, Gilmore is still on the team.
So it's
I have.
definitely Hightower.
I'm already. Yeah, I
He
know.
didn't play last year.
I know, and that's definitely going to help them. I just feel like Lay going up to New England. This is just.
I don't know. I hate.
I can't really
Belichick.
give a reason. I just don't like. I don't have a good feeling about it.
I don't know. I hate Belichick so much, so that's part of the reason. But no, I just think that they're a much better team than the Patriots are at this point, and most likely at that point.
Better team doesn't always win.
I know.
That's why they call
but,
football.
But I just don't think that.
It's obviously not because you played with your feet.
Didn't they swept the Patriots last year, right?
Yeah,
They had
we
no
did.
problem.
No,
doing
we
it.
did.
Yeah.
But we
So, I
also
mean-
didn't beat them really for like 20 years before that.
Well,
I gotta go with Bourne, and for the same reason, I just think overall the Bills are a substantially better football team right now than
I
the
don't-
Patriots.
yeah, I mean, like, I don't see them losing to a team that they're much better than. Like the Saints, I could see them. Like I think I took them to lose, but I mean, I don't think you lose in New Orleans. No one's really surprised by that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think that.
People might be surprised. With Drew Brees gone, the expectations on New Orleans
No,
have dropped.
but that's what he's saying. Like,
But-
Drew Brees at home, you sort of gave that win to Drew Brees.
yeah.
Right,
And
but
I think
I think that, you know, the Saints are a better team than the Patriots are. So I mean, I don't see them losing to the Patriots, and I mean I hate Belichick too, but I got to take that out of account. But still,
No, you don't.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
You do what you want. This is your podcast.
but you know, no, I don't see them losing. I don't think any home games. I see them lose. I think I have them losing 3 road games as of right now. I mean, it's tough to win all those road games too. But if you win more of your road games, then the home games take care of itself. You're a good team, you know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. I just think they're a very good team. I hate the Bills. Well, I don't hate the Bills, but I have to dislike them because they're on my division. But
No,
I mean, I like Bama and Auburn. Man.
They're,
You don't have to hate the Bills.
the Bills are a very
I
good
like the
team.
Mets and the Yankees.
The Bills are a very, very good team, and I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon. So and I think Belichick's time is over.
Okay.
Thank God.
It sounds like you're also leaning towards a Buffalo win that week.
Yeah, I think I just don't see. I just don't see how they would lose that game.
That's what I'm pretty much saying. But I don't know. I was trying to come up with some other reason, but I guess it's pretty much
Look,
the same.
I said the same thing. I said the reason that I think they're going to lose to New England is I don't have a good feeling about it. Like, straight up, that is my... Like, I don't have a good reason. You're right. I think Bills are a better team, but the better team doesn't always win. That's why they play the game.
Yeah.
And I just, for whatever reason, there's going to be that loss that I don't see here.
If it's close, it's going to be scary.
Yes, and a close game can go either way. We've seen those
Yeah.
teams that end up in the playoffs because they won a bunch of one-score
What time
games.
is
The
it?
next year fall like...
What time is that game at?
That game is a
5
1 o'clock game on Sunday.
Okay.
Yo, to your point.
Day after Christmas, in case that matters.
To your point, when Detroit went 0-16, every single loss was by 3 points or less.
Exactly. So
Like,
that's
that-
basically one or two bounces of the football go differently
Yeah.
throughout the course of the entire game, and that is a Lions win.
if the ball's 6 inches shorter and the guy doesn't get overthrown.
If
now
Orlovsky
it's a
doesn't run
touchdown.
out the back of the end zone,
Yeah.
like
God, what an idiot! I remember that play.
he's
Small-
great at breaking down tape though.
Wow.
I'll give him
Yeah,
that.
small
He's a
things
very
matter.
smart man.
He's good on ESPN.
He's a great Lions fan. So now we're gonna come up to Atlanta, where Atlanta comes
How's
up
it
to-
looking? How's the standings looking so far?
The record, well, excluding Rob because he's got a full one. You each have the Bills at 12-3 at this point, and I have them at 11-4.
Okay.
Now we've got back-to-back home games to end the season. At the day after New Year, so January 2nd, Atlanta coming up. And this is the one that Rob kind of threw a monkey wrench into our
Yeah,
plan by
Rob
saying
said
a
that.
loss, because they're going to have something to play for. And I don't think he's completely wrong. I
They
don't
beat
know if
Kansas
Tampa's
City
going to run
last
away
year.
with it. I think they're a good team, but they may not run away with it. New Orleans, nobody knows what they're going to be like without Drew Brees, to be honest.
Yeah.
The defense is still good in my opinion, but they've basically been up and down with Spags there. Or when Spags was there, and even after he left, Dennis Allen. Like, no matter who they have there, it goes up and down, it seems. And Carolina, we all believe, are still on the up and up, but not close.
I thought we already
to
did
the-
Carolina.
Well, no, I just mean in general as a team.
Yeah.
That team with the new head coach, they
Jets
just
are-
my bad.
they just brought in a new quarterback. Like, they're still figuring themselves out. So I feel like finishing last in that division, especially in the Central Powerhouse division, is not an insult.
Yeah.
So
So they could end up with 9 wins and be in last place.
exactly, especially with a 17-week season.
Yeah.
Or 18-week, 17 game. So with Atlanta coming up, that being said, I do think this is going to be a win. A part of me is scared because Arthur Smith, being the mind that was behind Tennessee, that did very well against us last year. Part of that was because of the whole, like you said, the schedule juggling where Tennessee couldn't follow protocol, and now not just us, Pittsburgh I knew got thrown off
couldn't,
because of it.
Ravens couldn't.
Yeah, a bunch of teams got screwed just as badly, if not worse. I just ultimately feel like they don't have that Derrick Henry X factor that is going to make Arthur Smith's offense work the way that it did in Tennessee.
I can see Matt Ryan having a real bad day up there.
I mean,
And he doesn't play well
Pitts could tear it up,
Yeah.
though.
Huh?
Kyle Pitts could tear it up.
He could. We don't do well against tight
If
ends.
he gets it to him.
Or we haven't done well
If
against tight
he
ends.
gets it to him.
But Matt Ryan doesn't do well outside the dome. He, like Drew
I mean-
Brees, for whatever reason, both of those
They,
guys.
uh,
And Matt Ryan came from BC. He played at bad
He
weather like
did.
when he was
Yeah.
college, so I understand it. But so
And what a good guy to bring in to like save your franchise from the PR nightmare that happened with Michael Vick.
Perfect.
at that year too. Like that was
Yeah.
just so freaking.
Like perfect timing.
Yeah.
Didn't
Like,
Atlanta
what
did beat Kansas City last year in Kansas City though? Am I right? It was like 17 or 20 to 17.
Completely
or
different.
something.
Yeah, but that was Julio was there and
But I could see why maybe.
yeah,
can see
Julio was in
why-
Tennessee too. Also in
Where I gave him a loss.
I can
'cause
see
that
why
had
maybe
Julio
Rob-
and AJ Brown.
I can see why
Trey
maybe
White
Rob
can't
picked
guard
this.
both of them, and I love Levi. He ain't covering either
Yeah.
of those guys one on one constantly.
I can see why Rob maybe threw this.
now. He's in Arizona.
Arizona. What was that, bro?
I can see why maybe Rob took Atlanta to beat this team, win this game, but it's not gonna happen.
I agree with you, Beatty.
I gotta go Bills.
Yeah.
Bills over Atlanta.
All right. So that brings us to
Kyle Pitts is gonna have to be at like 1,300 yards
Mm-hmm.
for me to want to change my mind at that and like
at 1,300 yards at week 17.
yeah. For me to be like
As a rookie tight end.
maybe they'll lose this game, but like if that doesn't happen, it's all Bills.
All right, and finally, week 18, the game that at this point Rob and we have a few extra tickets, so if we can convince, especially Bourne, as the guy we want to bring up there. But I just want to see what you like up there. But what's going to happen here? I've got to win.
I have them.
This honestly could be a loss only for the fact that if Buffalo has their position locked up and they play all their backups.
Yeah.
I'm not
That's
going.
the only way it's.
If anybody holds that against us, then that just proves that they're not football fans.
I think it's a win. I think they got a chance to at that point get the number 1 seed at on the last week of the year. I think they're going to be right behind Kansas City, right with them all season, and they're going to play.
They're definitely getting a home playoff game.
Yeah, they're going to. Well, yeah, they're going to win a division most likely.
Okay.
But I think they have a chance to get the number 1 overall seed, and they're going to play their guys, and they're going to beat the Jets easily.
I agree, especially now because only the number 1 seed gets that bye. That's something that we got to remember.
Oh.
That's right.
So
And only
if
one
you have a
seed.
chance to get that number 1 seed
That
come
seed
week
is-
17, week
that
18,
bye
you
is-
playing your starters.
Yeah.
Because you playing for that bye.
And as players, that's worth it for the extra week worth of rest.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
That's
for the
right.
coaches, you get an extra week of prep where you don't have to go
Yeah.
from week to week to prep. You have 2 weeks to prep for somebody.
I
Like you
think
see
you get
how
a-
good Andy Reid is, for example, after a bye.
I think you get a
you get 2
bonus,
weeks to
too.
prep for somebody. The good coaches.
All the teams that make the
Exactly.
playoffs, they get a bonus, but I'm not positive. But I think the higher seed you are, the more of the bonus you get. Something like that.
That would make sense.
That's
That's
interesting. We gotta look into that.
I
That's
do know.
certainly a
I do know all the
performance
teams that make the
incentivized
playoffs.
contract.
I do know that all the teams that make the playoffs, each player, coach, they get like a bonus.
Yeah, there's
from
bumps
them, so.
for that, and then
Yeah.
there's bumps for how far you get into the playoffs. Like there's a bump if you make it past the first round of the playoffs. There's a
a lot
bump
of
if you make it to
incentives
the
there.
championship game.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of the bumps
I have
come
them.
in.
What do I have them at?
So as of now, before we revisit, we're closing with Andrew and Matt giving a 14-3 record
Yeah.
through the new 17-week schedule,
Take it.
and Rob and I agreeing on a 13-4 schedule. So with the two of us, yeah.
That's
This
that's
is
the closest
they're a good
we've
team.
been as a group.
Yeah, considering we were just really quickly looking back, the Giants, we had 3 8-9s, the non-Giant fans, and 11-6 for the Giant fan. I'm just simply calling it as I see it. And for the Jets, we have a 6-11 and 5-12 record respectively between myself and Matt, the non-Jets fans, and then a 8-9 and 9-8
Yeah.
record between Andrew and Steve respectively as Jets fans.
Mhm.
So obviously. This is actually the first time where we don't see the home team having bias, but then again, you also all know that I'm a pessimistic fan in general, so I probably should give it like 2 more losses somewhere here. But so that actually finally wraps up my
Yeah.
personally much maligned win-loss topic that I said day one I did not want to do, but realized you know what, it's actually kind of fun.
It's not as bad as it. Yeah.
Let's get the fuck out of here. Maybe record something else.
All right.
Sign us off.
Oh yeah, I guess that is my job. All right, so appreciate you guys again, and until next time, be safe, be smart.
Rock on.
Okay.